What's going on, YouTube? Ferocity here, and today I'm going to rank all 11 Star Wars movies into this tier list. I have 6 tiers, ranking from the best of the movies, the amazing movies, all the way down to the worst, just awful movies. So, without further ado, the 6 tiers we're going to be putting these 11 movies into are going to be amazing, great, good, okay, watchable, and just awful. This is going to be tough because I have some varying opinions about these movies, and I have no clue where I plan to put any of these movies. So I think the best way to get started is to just jump into the first movie, and I think the best way to do this is to go from episodes 1 all the way through to 9 chronologically. Let's not go versus off of release dates. Let's go episode 1 to episode 9. So, first movie, of course, is Phantom Menace. Wow, that took me a second to remember what the first movie was. Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. First Star Wars movie I ever saw in theaters. Actually, one of the cool things with Phantom Menace was they had these collectible Pepsi cans with all the different characters. So you could buy like a Pepsi 12 pack and have like different characters on it. And then you've got Mountain Dew or 7-Up or Dr. Pepper. They'd all have different characters on them. I always thought that was really cool. This movie would fall right here for me. If Duel of Fates wasn't a thing, the two-sided lightsaber wasn't a thing, and pod racing wasn't a thing, because for whatever reason I'm still attached to pod racing. I still really like it, so for that reason it goes to watchable, just because I can put up with the politics and the really weird story and the dated effects for the opportunity to watch pod racing and the opportunity to listen to Duel of Fates and watch that door open and have Darth Maul ignite his dual-edged lightsaber. Love it. So this movie to me is completely watchable. Attack of the Clones, on the other hand, this isn't even a question. It goes into the just awful category. Reason being, nothing in this movie to me is very memorable. Nothing to me in this movie sets up anything for Revenge of the Sith that well, especially after watching it. It had to start the Clone War, but at the same time, to me, it just wasn't anything spectacular. I thought the time jump was very weird. It would have worked a lot better if maybe Anakin was a little bit older in Phantom Menace versus him just having this time jump from being a kid to teenager. The love story between him and Padme, where it was a little weird. Obviously, you have the sand line, which everybody knows by now. All in all, could have been a better movie. I just choose not to include it in my Star Wars viewings. I'll watch episode 1 for the last few minutes of it. I don't need to watch anything from episode 2. Episode 3. So, originally, when you load this up, it only gives you 5 tiers. And this is one of the movies that I needed a 6th tier for, because I don't think it's a great movie, but it's also better than just an okay movie, so it falls into the good category, right? The reason why it's a good movie is it's a good conclusion for this 3-part series, for this trilogy, sorry. It sets up episode 4 well enough. It gives us proper motivations for Darth Vader. It gives us a pretty poor reason for why Padme died, and it gives us the best lightsaber battle of the entire series with Obi-Wan fighting Anakin. All that emotion, all that tension. Very good movie. Good movie, very good action scene. And it gave us a reason for why he needs the Darth Vader suit to survive. So, all in all, really like this movie. I will watch it time and time again. It's good. It deserves a rewatch all the time. Now, I guess chronologically the next one would be Solo, because this would be directly linking to episode 4. At least that's the way I think it is. Regardless, we're just going to go with Solo first. Yeah, because the Empire's already started. Empire's kind of starting here. Going into this, because of how it was released, the fact that it was released after The Last Jedi, I had my reservations about whether or not this movie would be good. Luckily, I very much enjoyed my time. And I think it is in that good location. I think it's a good movie. I'll go back and rewatch it. I thought the characters were compelling. I love Han Solo, even though this isn't Harrison Ford's Han Solo. I still thought it was very good. Nice to see Chewie. some weird backstory stuff that I could have gone without, but still a good movie. I had fun with it. It's a good action flick. There you go. Rogue One, a Star Wars story. This came out after The Force Awakens, as I think everyone knows. I think if you asked me when it came out, I may have put it in the great. It has an opportunity to be in the good category, but I'm going to put it in the just okay category because the best moment of this film is the Darth Vader scene at the end of the movie. It was interesting to try to do a movie based on no Jedi in the movie, like none of that stuff. It was just based on the Star Wars universe. I love the Battle of Scarif portion of this movie. The rest of it just kind of is very okay. It's very meh. Like, a lot of people like this movie, and you're fine to like it. I have no issues with this movie. There's nothing that keeps me coming back time and time again. There's one scene, the Darth Vader scene, that, like, brings me back to peak Star Wars. So, for that reason, it's just an okay movie. And I think one of the things that hurts this movie the most is all the reshoots they did for it. So, it's okay. Characters are fine, but yeah, it just belongs right there, smack dab in the middle. It's an okay movie. Okay, let's get into the original trilogy now, the OT. And we got Star Wars: A New Hope. I don't think there's any other place this thing belongs than in Amazing. Okay, some people are going to wonder why. There is still something so special about this movie, and I can watch it from beginning to end. There's nothing I try to skip to. It's not like I skip to the Death Star. What is it? Shuttle run? I can't even think what it is. Regardless, doesn't matter. I don't skip to the Death Star run. I don't skip until they meet Han Solo. I watch the entire movie from start to finish because it is such a masterpiece. It is so well done. The effects to this day still, to me, resonate well. Overall, it's a great movie. The characters are good. The music is fantastic. Just sets up the rest of the world of Star Wars with its amazing score. I still think Binary Sunset is one of the most powerful scenes in the entire series, and maybe in cinema in general, just with the way that the music complements the scene and really lets us into what Luke is thinking as he embarks on, or hopes to embark on, an adventure at some point. An amazing movie. I think it's just common sense. Empire Strikes Back goes in the amazing category. Empire is one of my favorite movies of all time. Has the biggest twist of all time for an action movie of this size. It stepped up everything from A New Hope and really gave this universe a bigger feeling, but at the same time keeping everything intimate. And I love the additions of Lando Calrissian. I love the location of Cloud City. Everything they did here I thought was fantastic. The Hoth battle scene is still one of the things that I marvel at all the time. Absolutely adore that. I can watch that all day, every day. You know, start off a movie strong like that is incredible. So I think that is the most commonly placed movie at the top of someone's list, is Empire Strikes Back. Now we have Return of the Jedi. For some of you guys would put it here. Some of you guys would put it here. Realistically, for the entire fandom, it goes anywhere from amazing to just awful. But for me, it goes in great. Now, before people start to get angry, here's why it's a great movie. Yes, I can agree with you. Ewoks are a very interesting choice. They wanted to do Wookiees. Yes, does it make any sense that sticks and rocks took down a galactic empire? No, but suspend your disbelief. What this movie is truly about is good conquering evil and the Luke and Vader storyline. They do that to perfection. The fact that you actually believe that Luke was able to turn this evil and twisted man good is extremely powerful. The fact that we get callbacks to Yoda and Dagobah, we get to see Tatooine again, the green lightsaber, everything about this movie for me is nostalgic, fun, and it was the first Star Wars I watched. So it's so hard for me to be non-biased when it comes to this movie. I always see people calling this movie awful. It's a great movie for me because there's so much nostalgia. It does such a good job of wrapping up the series, and yeah, I'll always have a special place for this movie in my heart. Okay, the time has come to watch, or to review the last 3 movies, the sequel trilogy. And it's not going to be fun. This is not going to be enjoyable, because we're going to see a few of those categories at the bottom get a little bit bigger. So without further ado, let's start with Star Wars, Episode 7, The Force Awakens. Everybody thinks, oh, this is just a rehash of A New Hope. Nothing to see here. This is a good movie. Here's why. Brings us compelling characters. Yes, it's characters we've seen before. It's a universe we're familiar with, and it's a story we're familiar with. I am fine with that. I will not ignore the fact that this movie is very close to A New Hope. I will never defend that point. What I will defend is that they had set up a great villain in Kylo Ren, which could rival Darth Vader in a sense. A supreme leader in Snoke, which could rival Palpatine. Poe, rivaling Han Solo, I guess. The wild card in all this, the most underused character, and we'll talk about it in the last 2 movies, the most underused character in this trilogy is Finn, and it is so depressing that they did that. And then you have Rey. This movie was marketed to show that Finn was going to be the Force user, the lightsaber holder. No. That moment on Starkiller Base, when Rey holds out her hand and the lightsaber comes to her, was such a powerful moment. It was so unexpected. It gave me chills, made me beam ear to ear with a smile. But when she struck Kylo down, it was very weird. So this movie's a mixed bag. But I think the twist that Rey is actually going to be the Force-sensitive user in this series, very good. Very good. And I thought it set up a lot for episodes 8 and 9. I thought we were actually going into a positive direction with this series. So I gave a lot of credit to The Force Awakens. Even though it was a rehash of A New Hope, I could see them taking this series in a much different direction moving forward. Really exploring Finn's character, exploring Rey and how she's so powerful, figure out her family lineage, understand why Kylo turned, along with... Because, Han Solo's in this movie, does a great job. Leia's in this movie, does a great job, and Luke's barely in this movie. So I was really excited for episode 8. We're going to get more Luke Skywalker. We're going to finally see him on screen say stuff. We can see how powerful he is with the Force. And then we get The Last Jedi. From a lore perspective, it's just awful. It does a terrible job to Luke Skywalker's character. The Canto Bight scene, everybody knows, is terrible. I don't have much positive to say about this movie. The throne room scene, once again, is inconsistent. One of the worst shot action scenes ever. And the weird thing is, I like Rian Johnson as a director. I've watched Knives Out. I think it's a great movie. But when it comes to this, I think he was trying to do too much to a universe that was already extremely established, with rules that were set in stone, that he took too many creative liberties. And because of that, he made a potential great or amazing movie fall past good, past okay, and past watchable to just awful. I do not like watching this movie. I tried to get into it from the beginning, and I remember sitting in the theater cringing at the hugs joke at the start of the movie. It didn't make me laugh, I didn't enjoy it, and I was very disappointed with this travesty of a movie. But hey, JJ's back at the helm. Maybe he can steer the ship right, and he can make The Rise of Skywalker an amazing movie. But he didn't. It was absolutely awful. Like, I wish I could create another tier for how bad this movie is, how terrible it finalizes the entire saga. Look where I have the other two final movies in the trilogy. I said Revenge of the Sith did a great job with a terrible trilogy to wrap it up. I said Return of the Jedi did a great job of wrapping that trilogy up. Rise of the Skywalker is terrible. It shows there was no direction for this movie. There was no direction for this trilogy. They had to try to retcon things from The Last Jedi to make this movie watchable. It is such a travesty that we ended up with such a bad trilogy, but just such a bad finale for such a big world, such a monumental saga of movies. And oh boy, was it terrible. I think Kylo Ren is the most compelling character in this series, in this trilogy, and they made his turn seem very gimmicky. I love the fact that Han Solo, Harrison Ford, came back for a little cameo. I bet they paid him a lot of money, more money than I'm ever going to see, to come back. But yeah, this just, to me, wasn't a good finale. Rey is more powerful than ever in this. I didn't like that. The Emperor coming back was extremely silly. The fact that once again we do nothing with Finn's character other than yell is very disappointing, because there was so much potential. I had so much hope for him, and deferring from the First Order and seeing what that could be and seeing if he has some Force sensitivity. It would have been great. But in the end, we got this just hunk of junk movie, and I'm so disappointed by it. So, to recap our tier list, in Amazing we have Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, Star Wars Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back. These are both amazing because not only were they the foundation the series was built on, they are just by far the best movies in the series, followed by great Return of the Jedi. I almost said Revenge of the Jedi because, well, that's what they wanted to call it, but they deemed it too dark. Return of the Jedi comes in the great category mostly because of nostalgia for me, and I think they did a tremendous job of not only capitalizing on the Luke-Vader dynamic, but also did a very good job of wrapping up this trilogy and series neatly into a bow. Next, in the good category, Revenge of the Sith, the Obi-Wan Anakin fight and back and forth in this movie is fantastic. The speech when he first lands in Mustafar is one of my favorite things in all of Star Wars, and I can almost quote it line for line, beginning to end. It, to me, is one of the best pieces of dialogue in the prequel trilogy. They do a great job setting up A New Hope. They do a good job of making Darth Vader believable and Anakin's turn believable. Han Solo, or Solo, A Star Wars Story, just a fun ride all around. I enjoyed it. Thought the characters were compelling. Thought Han Solo's depiction in this movie was really good, despite it not being Harrison Ford. Very low expectations for this movie, and it delivered very, very well for me. Force Awakens, yeah, it's a rehash of A New Hope with some new characters mixed in with some old there. I think it's fine. I think it's a fun movie. I'll go back and watch it and just be disappointed at how well this series could have turned out, how well this trilogy could have been if they didn't ruin it with the last two movies of it. Rogue One, just in the okay category, because this movie doesn't really have anything memorable in it other than the Darth Vader scene, and for me that doesn't get it enough into the good category. Watchable, The Phantom Menace, mostly because of Duel of Fates, Darth Maul, and pod racing. That's enough for me to bump it up from just awful, and unfortunately the Darth Vader scene isn't enough to bump it from okay to good. So, in the just awful category, Attack of the Clones, mostly because this movie has nothing memorable about it, and it's just kind of a weird movie, doesn't really make a lot of sense, and has some very odd dialogue. The Last Jedi, once again, I don't want to put this on Rian Johnson. I don't think that he had enough to work with. I think he's a very talented director, but I do not think that he was up for the job of writing and directing The Last Jedi. I think he took too many leaps with the Force, and I think that he tried to be too bold with it to really make his mark in the Star Wars realm. The Last Jedi, or The Rise of Skywalker, is a terrible finale to a terrible trilogy. and we should forget the sequel trilogy ever exists. And we should just be done with it. If there's one thing we can take is Kylo Ren, because that would have been a really epic character to have for 3 movies, and unfortunately we don't even get that. We don't get a redeemed Ben as good as I wanted him to be, and we got no Knights of Ren. They just were there to die at the end of the day. And another terribly shot fight scene at the end of it. So all in all, guys, I am a Star Wars fan, even though that I ranked 5 of the 11 movies in okay to just awful, and I actually had more just awful movies than I had amazing movies. But I still love the series for what it is. I get it that the movies are imperfect. I get it that the world is very odd, but to me, it's one of the things that I'll go back to as a comfort zone, especially during times like now, to watch and enjoy, because I do love this universe, and I hope you guys too. So let me know down below in the comment section what you guys would rank these movies as. You know, would you maybe add a couple tiers, remove a couple tiers? Where do these movies rank for you? Let me know in the comment down below. And as always, guys, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. If you want to see more videos from me, please hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.